Good morning and welcome to our live crafting session this morning. I'm a little bit wonky, I can see here. Try and straighten it slightly. So I've had some technical issues already with my machine not connecting to the internet. So I have everything crossed that this is going to work okay this morning. If it halts, then I'll stop and I will come back and start again this afternoon. But fingers crossed, as long as I know that you're still there, then we're all good. So good morning to you. My name's Jenny McCormac. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire, and that is here in the UK. The stamp set I'm using today, as I always try and do on a Wednesday, it's currently Wednesday the 26th of February 2025. I feature either one of our online items, so items that are listed online but you won't see in a catalogue, or I feature one of our kits. Similarly, they don't tend to appear in a catalogue. We'll have new kits next week, and we also have new online exclusives starting next week. I thought I would use excuse me, this stamp set, Among the Swallows. It's difficult for you to see. It's a very large stamp. It covers a whole card base, and it features 3 swallows and then assorted little bees and irises, some floral images. Quite difficult to see on that picture, I'm sure. This is the stamp that we're going to use, and it is currently on offer, I believe, at £13.60. Now, most people, when they excuse me, look at this, they'd be horrified that they've got to colour the whole thing in, and no, you don't have to. You could stamp in tone on tone and just use it for a background. We're going to use the spotlight technique, where you just spotlight a part of that, and excuse me, I'm going to spotlight this area down here because I'm going to punch that area out with a circle. So fingers crossed. I've got a piece of our basic white card, so this is coated especially for stamping. And I'm going to put the card onto the background like that, okay, because it's a large stamp. If you have a Stamparatus, it's perfect, or you have another stamp positioning tool, you could certainly use that. I haven't even taken the back of this. I don't think I've even inked it up, maybe. I'm going to use Early Espresso, and I'm going to excuse me, ink this up all the way over. I think I've chosen my Early Espresso that doesn't have much ink on it, so I'm just going to give that a good few coats. I use my Early Espresso so much. I really need to sit down actually with all of my ink pads because quite a few of them are very light indeed, and I just need to sit down with the refills. Doesn't take long, but inevitably I've got other things that I need to do. Okay, let's get a spare piece of paper out to use on top. Hopefully that will cover that area. Perfect. So I'm going to place this down, and I'm going to have it slightly, well, I don't know, I'm just going to put it in the middle, I think. Just because there's not a big area. I am going to trim this piece down. So I want to place it, put my piece of paper on top so I don't get any of that spare ink on my hands, and then just press that down all the way over. Now I know this is going to be bigger than I need, but it's easier to use a larger piece and cut it down. Okay, hopefully that will have done the job. Let's have a look, see. Yes. So there you go, you can see that image quite clearly now. I'll just move that, just wipe it down and move it to one side. Now if you love colouring, This is perfect for colouring the whole thing. You could also heat emboss it in white on boho blue or something like that. That would look really pretty as well. What I'm going to do first of all is let me cut this down to the size that I want for my card. Let's pop that to one side. So let's excuse me, just trim that little bit to start with. So my finished card size wants to be 9.5 because I'm going to layer it onto probably espresso, possibly a blue, and I just need to decide which side I want that to go. I'm going to have my swallow just off there to the right, so I'm going to cut that 9.5 centimeters, and actually I want the full sort of bit at the bottom, and so any excess I'm going to trim from the top, and that's going to be 13.85, which is just about spot on. So I'm going to leave it like that. Now, if you love colouring, sit there and colour to your heart's content. What I'm going to do is punch out a section of this, and I've got assorted punches. Now, if you've got circle dies, or even you could use any shape, it doesn't have to be a circle. I've got 2 1/4, 2 1/2 and 2 3/8. So I'm going to take the 2 1/4 and come in. So I'm going to have my swallow sort of off there to the right, like that. Don't want to come too far down, like that. So that's the bit I'm going to colour. Now what you can do is to get an area around it. Let me just show you. Let me grab, I'm not sure what colour I'm going to use. Let me find a piece that's big enough. So let's take Early Espresso. So there's 2 ways that we can highlight this. So my normal size for my backing layer would be 10 centimeters by 14.35. So if you can imagine, this is going to go on there. That is going to be uncoloured, and this is going to go up on top. Now that gets a little bit lost, even though that will be coloured. Get it the right way around. There it is. Okay, so that's better. Got the flowers going around the right way. 2 things you can do. One is you could punch a larger circle out of the backing here and put it behind. But what I'm going to do is actually punch a larger circle here so that it shows the piece behind. So this was 2 1/4. So 2 1/2. Let me have a look. Would definitely work on there. So now what I can do, when I put this piece back, let's get it the right way around again. There we go. Can you see I've got an automatic border around it without cutting into anything else. Okay, this is going to go up on dimensionals. So let's colour this in really quickly. I'm going to use I've got an assortment of greens. I've got a little bit of purple for the irises. So the irises can be blues, they can be yellows, they can be purples, really whatever you would like them to be. Let me take my glasses off quickly. I've got Highland Heather here, dark and light. And just colouring in these centres. I haven't used Highland Heather in that for what seems like a long time. Okay, this is a flower here, and here, and there's another one here. just a tiny little bud. So all I'm going to do is just really quickly colour those in. That's the flower. So needless to say, after we had a beautiful day yesterday, it's raining today. Okay. So I could use a purple behind this if I wanted to, I'll see. So this is the iris flower, and there are different flowers on there depending on which pit you use. Let's colour those little buds in like that. The rest is going to be some greens, and I've just picked up an assortment from my bag, that's all. Let's put that little bit on there. I think that's all greenery left then. So I've got light granny apple green and dark granny apple green. That was an absolute stroke of luck. So just a little bit of shading with the dark, like that. I did want to use this at Coffee and Card, but the problem we've got in some of the venues is that the lighting is not always the best for detailed work like this. Okay. Right, that's the dark granny apple, and then a little bit of light, but you can use, you know, any greens that you've got. Mossy meadow. Because this is a small area, you could also use excuse me, stampinup markers. There we go. Now I saw this or a similar card to this done by Janice Thompson. I think her online site is Jazzle Dazzle. So do check her out too. She's up in Scotland. Okay. Right. That will do for that. Let's add in the swallow colours. So I've got bit of dark grey granite, bit of light crumb cake. I suppose I should have checked out exactly what colours they should be. They're sort of what are they? Swallows. Black and white, grey and white. Okay, so I'm just doing the tips of those and maybe a little bit under here. And then I'm just going to use light crumb cake, so nice sort of browny grey. And I did open a new crumb cake yesterday, and I put a bit of tape around it so that when I pick any up, I know that that particular one is a brand new one. Some of these blends pens date to 2018, 2019, and in the early days I used to put the dates on them. Okay, there's a little bee in there, but we're hardly going to see that. And then the final touch to make that stand out a little bit more is to use a pale blue. So this is dark balmy blue. I'm thinking this might be a bit too dark actually. Oh, let's go for it. Normally I would go with a lighter colour, but just to make sure we're still live and going, I'm going to stick with this one. It will lighten up anyway as it dries, and I'm just basically filling in that background. Not doing any shading, just using that as a background colour, like so. And then all that remains for me to do is to add a sentiment and layer the card up. So you can do this fairly promptly. If you were obviously colouring the whole thing in, you would need a lot more time for colouring. You could leave this element out if you wanted to. Save some time. You could also stamp on some coloured card. It needs to be fairly light, otherwise you're not going to see the right colour from the blends pens. But let's just do that. Like so. So we had a great day yesterday. Had coffee and card in the morning, followed by my in-person class at Evenly with this month's class in a box. That went really well. We did manage to do all 5 cards in 2 hours from scratch, so there wasn't any previous die cutting done. So I was very pleased about that. The girls did a good job. Okay. The other thing you could do for this is use a blending brush and go over some of the areas, especially use a small tip blending brush. There we are. That will do nicely. Move those pens out of the way. Okay, so here is my layer. That's how that's going to go. So can you see we've got this just by cutting a larger circle. But as I say, the other thing you could do is punch another circle out of there and attach it to the back of this piece here if you wanted to. Hi Caroline, just spotted you've joined us. Thank you so much. So the question is, am I going to stick with that or am I going to change it maybe to Highland Heather? Let me have a quick look. And the good thing is we can just try it out and see. So there's that one. This is going to go onto white card. All balmy blue. Like so. Or green, or espresso. What do we think? I don't like the Highland Heather as much. The blue would certainly work. If you have any thoughts, let me know. It works quite nicely, doesn't it? Oh dear. I think I'm going to stick with that, unless anybody else has any other suggestions. And that's going to go onto my white card. So let me layer that up. I'm going to excuse me, pop that onto there first. Make sure you're careful where you're putting the glue. So I'm going to put it on this side, just around the edge, like that. Espresso, says Caroline. Thank you. Okay, so this is our standard size espresso, so 10 centimetres by 14.35, that's UK sized. That's going to go onto our base card. So you could use tape, you can use wet glue, really whatever you prefer. And then I'll just add a simple sentiment. This would make a nice get well card. Or just a note sort of, you know, oops, thinking of you. Got a bit hard with my hand there, that's better. So this is going to go up on dimensionals, which I have recovered this time from my bag, along with a sequin by the looks of things. 2, 3, 4, it's going to pop 1 in the middle for support, you don't want it sagging. Oh, Caroline's lost me, oh dear. Okay. Well, fingers crossed. This is still recording. If not, you're probably far enough through to know. Okay, so I'm just taking my time to line that up with the other elements. Like so. I've got a little piece here. Just going to stamp, let me see, something nice and simple, maybe just a thank you, and I'll cut the edge of that off like so. Grab a block. I'm going to stick with espresso. So I'm going to put this to the left to balance it. So I'm going to stamp my thank you over to the right hand edge slightly. This die cut is from the where is it from? The Butterflies dies. Okay, that's going to go onto there. So I'm just going to trim that down. There's my trimmer right next to me. Like so. Come out. You could mount that onto a layer of card. You could use a blending brush to add colour. You could use the balmy blue, but I'm just going to keep it nice and straightforward. I will pop that up. Will I pop that up on dimensionals? Yes, I will. And we're done. So ignoring the fact I was deliberating about colour and introducing everything, less than 20 minutes. I appreciate that I have my card already cut, but that was all. And I did have a layer cut, didn't I? But that was it. Okay, so I'm lining that up with the white edge there, and there we have it. You could, of course, add in any other detail behind, but I like the fact that we've just highlighted that little bit rather than the whole thing. So I hope you like it. It's called Among the Swallows. It is on offer, so it's an online item. You won't see it in a catalogue. It's not a very good picture for you to see there because it's smaller than the actual image. But it's less than £14 at the moment, and then when it's gone it will disappear. So if you do like it, don't hesitate to get it sooner rather than later. And just a reminder that our celebration offer finishes at the end of, well, finishes Friday, the 28th of February. That's where you get free, you can select free items for every £55 you order, and you can also join my team and get extra products, so you can get an extra £90 worth of product when you join. And when you join, you can choose £130 of product and just pay £99, and then you can buy all of your supplies at a discount. So I hope you like it. I will photograph it and pop it on with the video uploaded to YouTube. Hopefully Facebook was kind enough to let us run all the way through as my internet, and I look forward to crafting with you tomorrow evening, when I'll be back with our stamp set of the week and also the dies that go with it. So thank you so much. Do take care, everyone. I can see that camera is still wonky because that is straight on my desk. So thank you for joining me. Do take care and look after yourselves and your loved ones. Bye for now. Thank you.